What's up, my friends? How's everybody doing today? So, figured I'd just get on here, guys. I've been running some ads and things like that about my book and film, and yeah, it's actually going pretty good. So, I did get some hate mail this morning, so I guess that means it's good, good content or whatever. I thought it was kind of funny though. Somebody actually tried to tell me, because it takes a lot of time to edit videos and content and stuff like that when you're doing marketing. Okay, so I figured I'd get on here and talk about artificial intelligence. Okay, what do y'all think? Billion-dollar companies are actually hiring employees to train their AI systems to help them be able to promote and market. Um, I'm all about it. I think if that helps you be able to get marketing done quickly, then what's the problem with it? You know what I'm saying? Instead of spending 4 hours to create an advertisement, for a product, you can get it out here in about 30 seconds, right? So, what's wrong with that? That's technology, right? Now, with that being said, I draw the line on AI for certain things because I won't use AI in any of my books or my films and things like that. Like I try to keep it legit. You know, very minute pieces of AI will I use if I have like a graphic that I need to make that I'm not capable of making or that I don't want to pay somebody $30,000 to make. Okay, that makes sense. Work harder, not smarter, right? Um, but I just think it's kind of funny, because a lot of people, they'll bust on the author or filmmaker and oh, how dare you use AI in your advertisement? Okay, but I'm just thinking to myself, like I'm a teacher, right? And a lot of people, I guarantee they're trying to point fingers, but I bet you they probably use ChatGPT and it probably helped them out through high school and college. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying it's probably more about the subject that I'm talking about than it is the fact that I used AI for an advertisement. So if you're mad because I used a little bit of AI to advertise my book, you're probably actually more upset about the fact that I'm talking about something that disturbed you a little bit. Um, because that's what I talk about. All right, and I'm going to continue to talk about it. All right, because it is a problem. Um, Here soon. All right, keep your eyes open soon. I'm actually going to keep your eyes open here soon. I will be. I took screenshots, over the last several months of my work in film festivals and things like that. And basically, I'm marking out the names, all right, because I don't want to invade people's privacy. But basically, I'm going to be putting together a little video showing all the comments from people that support my work. Um, because interestingly, I get a lot of people on here that'll be like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about," and blah blah blah. Even though I have over 130 references of fact-based research, from like doctors and lawyers and all kinds of important people. Um, so they'll try to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, but interestingly, they probably have only been using and smoking pot for maybe a couple years. Okay, I have people who have reached out to me who literally were facing marijuana addiction, high potency products, and things like that for 20, 30 years of their life. And they're like, man, this was the worst thing I ever did. It destroyed my life. I even had a dispensary owner reach out to me because his kid went down to, he was mixing high potency products with antidepressant medication. It ended up actually killing him. All right. So, all you people who are on here acting like I don't know what I'm talking about, maybe you shouldn't be so confident in yourself that you don't open your eyes up to the whole other side of the story, right? And I'm not saying that to be mean, but you act like your side of the story of marijuana is the only side that matters. Okay, unfortunately, addiction might not hit you, okay, or it might not hurt your kids or your family. Um, but every time you say that it doesn't do that to somebody, there's somebody on the other side of the story that literally is living um, a nightmare because of addiction. Okay. And I can tell you as a father who struggled with a daughter who was highly addicted to high potency marijuana, it made her so sick because of cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. I actually wrote about that in my book. Um, it's real talk. She lost 50 pounds in like 4 months because of high potency marijuana. So, and she was super sick. And there's many, many cases, hundreds of cases. I've had hundreds of people reach out to me over the past few months regarding this subject. So for, all you guys that get on here and want to be like, oh, this guy don't know what he's talking about. And okay, that's fine. You can say that. Okay. But just keep in mind, I have hundreds of other people that are completely agreeing with me. So you definitely need to open your mind. Okay. I keep things respectful. I listen to all sides of the story. Okay. And also, guys, I'm an award winning author and filmmaker. So clearly, I've investigated all angles of the drug. Okay. Both the pros and the cons. I actually did a podcast last night with Chris Voss, who's a user himself. And we had a very great conversation together. It's actually on my YouTube channel. You can go check it out. So him and me can have a great conversation. I'm pretty sure some of y'all out there could probably have a great conversation and learn from each other as well. I'm raising awareness, okay? And the stuff that I'm presenting to you is completely fact-based. So, if you're so hard-headed to, at least look into what I'm talking about, because you probably don't know as much as you think you do, okay? Maybe the only thing you know is what you've been doing, okay? But you're not thinking about all the other things that are out there that your kids are probably doing. If that's the way you're thinking, then I don't know. I have trouble accepting that that is a good way to think. You know what I'm saying? Because this world is quickly adjusting, quickly changing, and an addiction industry is targeting your kids. Okay. Why would they not want to target your kids? They're easy targets. Okay. And I can tell you from being a school teacher, um, that it's working. Okay. They know exactly what they're doing. So, um, if we want to continue to be stubborn about it, you're going to learn the hard way. Just like a lot of these people that reached out to me, the dispensary owner, for example, he wishes he would have done things different. And again, I'm going to show you proof of these conversations because I took screenshots all throughout my time, of people reaching out to me. I'm not going to put their names and stuff like that, but proof is in the pudding. Okay, and I have plenty of fact-based research and evidence, and I got Chicago University. They're looking at my book right now for a National Book Award. Not sure if I'm going to get it or not, okay, or if I'm going to win. But at the end of the day, my stuff is being reviewed. It's been validated. I'm a finalist for the International Impact Book Awards. I'll be in Hollywood, California, this October. So what I'm saying is, a lot of very important people with a lot more brains and smarts than I got have reviewed my work. So to get on here and just be like, "Oh, you're an idiot," and some people just call me all kinds of mean things. I don't cuss, but use your imagination, right? Um, that just tells me you're kind of ignorant, honestly. All right. Write a book, prove me wrong. Okay, I don't know what to tell you. Not trying to be mean about that, but seriously, do your research. Okay, I have hundreds of hours of research. You're welcome to write a book and show me how wrong I am. Okay, but I guarantee you, if you do the research, all sarcasm aside, if you do the research, you will quickly see there are more negatives than positives. Okay, the only thing people can really go back to on the positives is medical, guys. That's it. Okay, but I can write a whole book about the negatives on how it's affecting young people and young people's lives. So, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep talking about it. Okay, and again, I have a very important announcement. I can't wait to make this announcement for y'all. Some good things coming up. All right. Yeah, you know, AI, you know, and back to my original thing. So with AI, um, if you follow me, okay, you already know I'm not going to use AI unless it's something that I could make myself. Right? I could spend 3-4 hours making something that AI can make in 30 seconds. I could do that on my own. Okay, I'm a music producer. I play all the instruments. I can easily get on and record a video. I can do that. Okay, but I believe in working smarter, not harder. Okay, if the product is made, why not use your resources to get it out there? Okay, just like a lot of y'all do for your writing your papers in college and things like that. All right, so I keep it real. Okay, it's a discussion. I say it with love. Okay, but some of y'all, you need to get off of your high horse. Okay, because um, you're thinking about marijuana and all this kind of stuff and how it's affecting kids from kind of a selfish perspective, okay? Because it's not always about you, honestly, okay? It's not. Sorry, okay? I know it might help you, okay, but every time it helps you, it's hurting 10 other people. So it is what it is. And again, I'm not ever going to tell somebody not to use marijuana, okay? At the end of the day, you can do that. You have free will. If it helps you, then good, right? But what I'm saying is, let's keep the narrative correct, okay? Because, you know, everybody who says medical marijuana, they're not talking about the fact that almost half of, or a little over half of users are actually abusing the drug, okay? They meet the standards right now for cannabis use disorder, okay? That's the same as abusing drugs or prescription pills or whatever, okay? So, yeah. All I'm saying is when you're going to speak about something and get upset about something to the point where you want to fight somebody or call somebody names or something like that, at least speak it from a honest perspective. I can respect that, right? If you want to call me a 4-letter word, and you're speaking truth, I'll take that. Okay, but your opinion, because you've just been a user your whole life, or you grew up being a user your whole life, that doesn't impress me. You know what I'm saying? Like, do your research. Okay, in other words, you can say I love medical marijuana. It helps me sleep at night. But I also understand that half of people abuse the drug. I can respect that, right? But to say, hey, you're just a blankety blankety blank because all you do is talk bad about people who use medical marijuana, that is a incorrect statement, right? That's a lie. Because that's not what I do. Okay. Anyone who wants to use medical marijuana for the right reasons, actual medical reasons, and it's prescribed and they're not cheating the system because all they really want to do is get high, that I don't respect. So, you know, all I'm saying is we need to change the narrative in America. We need to be real about the subject, start calling it what it is, because like it, love it, hate it, it is a fact that kids are becoming addicted at 10 and 11 years old to marijuana that is at 60 to 90% strength. You know, just imagine being 12 years old, getting a 500 milligram gummy. All right, because that's the kind of stuff, like we actually just found one of those not too long ago. All right. I was talking to the local sheriff, and he told me in a middle school, 8th grade, they found a 500 milligram gummy. So just imagine, you know, your 10, 11-year-old kid eating that, right? 500 milligrams. Think about that. So I know what I'm talking about. All right, we need to be honest about it. Talk to your local nurses. Go out and talk to a nurse. Meet a nurse and ask them. You know, talk to a recovery expert working in a counseling center. Ask them, you know, what kind of stuff do you see? Okay, I literally just did a book signing a couple weeks ago, and there was a nurse that came in there, and she was telling me, you know, like 10, 11-year-olds overdosing, dying. Okay, they had 10 and 11-year-olds that literally had what's it called, liver failure because of alcohol. Like, that's ridiculous. 10, 11 years old, but we want to act like that ain't happening. Okay, the reality it is happening, and why is no one talking about it? I don't know. Okay, why is no one talking about the fact that only as of today, and you can look it up, go to Google, ask Chris Voss to do it last night on the podcast. You know, live on the show, I said go to Google and type in how many vaping products are FDA approved as of today. Now, as of yesterday, it was 45 products out of 21.6 million applications. All right. Why is nobody talking about that? Okay. Why? Because we love it so much. All right. Now, again, I don't hate on anybody that uses, that's on you. Okay. All I try to do is raise awareness. Right. But I'm just encouraging y'all to have an open mind. Okay. Have respectful conversations. Right. Because you can't say, I want to fix the drug problem in America, but yet you don't want to look at the underlying circumstances and have an honest conversation about it. All right. Now, there is people out there that are having honest conversations, and I've had many of them with them, and I appreciate that. But some of y'all you need to chill, honestly. Okay. So I figured I'd talk about this. I say all that with love. Okay. I love all y'all. Lord, we got some stubborn people in this country. All right. And If you can honestly look and say that America is in a great state right now, like our kids are doing so good, and the education system is just so good. Like if you look at how bad our education system is, it's really like one of the worst in the world, honestly. So, and I could say that as a teacher for 6 years, I know what I'm talking about. Okay, if I could fix the problem, I would. But I'm telling you one of the problems right now. Are you hearing me? Or are you just going to get mad and argue with me? So the only way we're ever going to fix stuff is to take an honest look, peel back the onion, and see if we can work together, have honest conversations, and then we need to influence change, policy changes, things like that. Look, medical marijuana, guys, use it, don't abuse it. Okay, but here's the thing: you look at like countries like Australia, they actually prescribe it, but it's maintained in a pharmacy. I have no problem with that. Okay, because it's actually prescribed by a doctor, not the one that you get online and pay $20 for and make up a lie about, oh, I get migraines, and then they give you a prescription to go get medical marijuana, right? Or you can order it online and have it shipped to your house anywhere, even if it's illegal in that state. That's ridiculous. Okay, we're abusing it. And I'm going to call it what it is. Okay, that's not being smart on how we set ourselves up for our future. Um, you know, And again, these kids are not talking about this stuff to their parents because they don't want to get in trouble. They're not talking to their administrators because they don't want to get in trouble. Imagine being 10, 11 years old and like you've been hitting vapes every day for the last 2, 3 years at 90% strength or 80% strength using weed wax or whatever, right? Hitting uh, shattering dabs and all this stuff, high potency products, and you're addicted to it and you have nobody to talk to. You can't talk to your teachers, you can't talk to your parents, you can't talk to the school, you can't tell the doctor, right? You're performing bad in school, so now your depression just goes and gets worse, right? So then your parents take you and get you on medication to help you overcome your anxiety or depression, okay? But what you don't tell nobody is that you're stacking it with high potency products, so now your conditions are just getting worse, okay? Ask me how I know. I lived this story out with my kid. So, look, I keep it real, guys. So, there's freedom in that, okay? You want to make America a better place? Start being honest about the problem, okay? There's better ways that we can manage medical marijuana. There's better ways that we could manage um, how we deal with kids that are addicted to marijuana. So that's all I'm doing, raising awareness. Okay. So if you want to call me 4 letter words and all that stuff because I'm an honest person and trying to speak truth, well then oh well. That's fine. I'll take that. I can handle it. I wouldn't have wrote a book and made a film uh, that 70% of the people are going to oppose if I didn't know this was true. So it is what it is. I'm gonna keep talking about it. But yeah, with that being said, guys, um, hope that makes sense to y'all. I say all that in love. Check out my book. Check out my film. Okay, The Green Glitch: What's Behind the Devil's Lettuce, and you'll actually learn something. I guarantee it. It's very important. All right, all parents need to read it. In my opinion, everybody who's read it has learned something that has actually taken time and read it and got back to me. The film is $2.99. It's worth a good hour of your time. Um, and again, stay tuned for that announcement, guys. Good announcements coming up soon. So, taking enough y'all's time. Love y'all.